And he's really good at pulling one off lane, and don't get me wrong, but the meta shifted more towards 2-1-2. So we've seen a lot of Disruptor games being really bad. Like, I think there was one game, PPD was playing Disruptor.
I thought they would actually go Blight first, simply because like Liquid lead out there for LG. Okay, just open with the Coddle. You're either get Beastmaster, you're gonna get something
remaining.
From this hero. Instead, they feel like the Beastmaster, which maybe links back to what you were.
5 seconds remaining.
Where vision is key.
NS, no, the NS is, I think, could be the counter here if they're worried about the Beastmaster Coddle that LGD have run before in the past.
Are you willing to blind pick that that Night Stalker?
I think.
What if LGD?
I think Night Stalker itself is great against the Hawk vision of the Beastmaster itself, not just the Keeper of the Light. So I personally feel even if they pick the Night Stalker and there's no Coddle, it's still a legit pick again.
Yeah, but there is Wisp still in the pool.
As well as Jet.
Yeah.
So there you got the Wisp. Wisp and Tide. Tide is a very good matchup against Beastmaster in the game. And in the lane as well, if you ever get the lane, Tide usually does very well against Beastmaster. In the game, he doesn't want to raw you because of Kraken. And if he raws your teammates, there's the Ravage coming in. The Anchor Smash is great against the Necrobooks.
So we might go back to that Disruptor against the Tidehunter or Witch Doctor. Like, both of them are really good. But this is the dual lane that they want to run. This is the fastest Tidehunter pickup in the early stage, I think, that I saw throughout the DAC.
Just because the
I think the Beastmaster reaction, yeah.
And I think it's like it said something, right? I think the tier 1 teams, they see
5 seconds remaining.
They don't try and go, oh, how are we gonna beat this duel lane? How are we gonna see? The best teams actually go, well, they're gonna do a duel. Let's try and match that pace. Let's try and get a duel own that is quite
Let's see who has carry that's poorer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I feel like the lesser teams oftentimes
we need to have that carry.
React, and they only go, oh, we have to secure.
I mean, one more reason maybe the Tidehunter has been picked here is, I mean, Lacoste brought up how Liquid is really good at adapting. In the previous series, they played more of speed push game, but against LGD plays more of a vision game. So when you're up against a vision game, what you do, you pick more team fight, because then you group up together. It negates a lot of their vision advantage with their heroes, and you just fight them head on. And usually with the vision heroes, they are more lacking in terms of head-on combat engage.
It's the old bounty hunter con, right? You can see me all you want, but if we're 5-manning into your towers, what does it make a difference?
So we see the Night Stalker being taken out there. Not a surprise, they have Beastmaster, they have Keeper. Don't want to play against that. Terrorblade also being taken out, one of Army's best hero.
Yeah, how does Venomancer do against, let's say, if they put the Venomancer against the Beastmaster and Keeper of the Light, that gives them also the kind of a vision hero as well?
It's banned, bruh.
Oh, sorry.
Bruh. Maybe you should pay attention.
Can you two just leave it until like game 2 or something?
I think
Radiant team's turn to pick.
Liquid.
But,
it could be either side.
But then it would be what? IO plus Nyx duo? Not the strongest.
Interesting ban from
just
LGD.
for a hunting down.
Yeah. But I kind of like feel it's a bit. The early game might not be the best though. If you have Nyx and IO as your support duo, you probably want someone stronger. They might go for a Rubik, maybe. We've seen them do like Rubik IO. In the past, there's also a Tusk IO. I've seen them doing Tusk IO. I think there's more of a balance between the duo. Personally, I want the IO to be rich, and I want the other support to buy everything. Because I don't like Wiz in the game that comes into a situation where, oh, I need help with wards. The other guy can't really, buy everything.
This is next level LED, like, banners now.
Okay, I can tell you what it's saying. Sorry, this is Chinese tournament, and Chinese is gonna win.
I think they floated it said Chinese Dota best Dota, but
yeah, the previous one did.
So maybe we go back to that Witch Doctor for Team Liquid, or they just go full green. I mean, Witch Doctor is really good against the Beastmaster, and they have enough sustain and what you talked about, Winter, that they need a position 5. Especially now, since Wisp doesn't need boots, so he can invest in more items.
They might pick maybe a
10
Wyvern
seconds
if
remaining.
they see like Beastmaster Venge and this kind of thing. I think Wyvern could be a good position
5
5 to
seconds
pair up
remaining.
with the IO. It's not the strongest, but Wyvern does fit in the scenario where he's okay buying everything, all the wards, covering all the support
Radiant
duties,
team's turn to pick.
and you have quite a good team fight. Void against Tide though, I am not a big fan of that. The matchup is kind of like both ways, but I feel I'm more comfortable with the Tide, and nobody wants to jump first, you know, in the Tide against Faces Void matchup. Like whoever goes first with their initiation is
seconds
generally
remaining.
going to have a worse initiation than the other.
Yeah, if Tide jumps in,
5 seconds remaining.
gonna follow that one up. Do Chrono first. Tide's gonna blink behind the Chrono. Gonna hit all your team.
Yeah.
The Chrono's gonna.
You're going to want to chrono the Tide, which is generally, I think if you get that chrono, it's more on the Tide screwing up if he gets in the chrono. And I don't like the lane matchup. Tide destroys Faces Void in the lane. And with this kind of like try opening, I'm going to see LGD doing this kind of 2-on-2 lanes. So Beastmaster and Cortex is going to be on the lane. Void is going to be +1 with whoever support it is. If it's a Witch Doctor, that's probably the strongest duo. As long as Tide gets support in the early game, he gets some help. He gets to level 3. 2 points in Kraken Shell.
Team Liquid needs a hero that has reliable stun and more control for Faceless Void. None of these 3 heroes provide anything, so maybe.
But if
Back
they
to
win,
Sanking,
if they win
back
the
to
lanes,
Disruptor.
I think if they win the lanes hard enough, though, then you can make a case of having a less balanced draft. I mean, I've seen Liquid do that, having a draft where they have a very little lockdown, but I can understand your concern.
You have a lot of counters.
Dire team's turn to pick.
Disruptor.
Radiant team's turn to
I
ban.
don't think they need it though. Like they go
Wow.
for the disruptor, so they have a like you said, like a catch. They have team fight. So much more all-rounded stuff here from Liquid and a position 5 hero, so the IO can just be greedy as he wants.
Yeah, and it was also a deny
10
pick
seconds
from
remaining.
LGD. They have a good
Dire's
setup with the
turn
Chrono, and one of the better counters to Tidehunter in general is Disruptor.
And LGD once again leaving a support pick for last. I've seen them do this so many times. Not every team does this.
I think the LGD they want to match.
10 seconds remaining.
I can't imagine they.
Yeah, Void, you don't want.
5 seconds
I don't know.
remaining.
It doesn't matter what kind of support. I feel even if they have the Witch Doctor, as long as Tide gets some help,
Yeah.
all he needs is like 1 minute of help, maybe 1.5. He gets to his level 3. The lane is more or less going to be really, really good for Tide. I can see Witch Doctor being probably the strongest laner out there. They can pick to lane against the Tide.
And there's Viper in
Dire
some other
team's
lane.
turn to
So if Liquid get a third power, that matches well.
I see Team Liquid getting a Phantom Lancer maybe. It's really good lane with the IO. I think they pulled it out once as well. They don't have too many counters for...
Radiant team's turn
PL.
to pick.
Witch Doctor.
And there's the Witch Doctor we said right at the very beginning of the draft.
Yeah, one of the better laners against the Tidehunter, but as you mentioned, I think they want to have that Beastmaster Coddle matched against the Tide because of the burst damage that they have, and they
remaining.
do not want to have Void.
What is the
5
miracle
seconds
hero here?
remaining.
Do they? I think they need like some kind of like right clicker.
Choose your hero.
The Lifestealer is gonna provide that, but he's up against a Chronosphere and Beastmaster.
Blinding Light, Mana Leak.
But Dota is not a 1v5 game. You have teammates, so there's the Tide to protect him. There is the IO to cover him. So if he lives through all the disable, he's gonna do damage.
It looks like a strong poke laning phase, right? Because the Lifestealer is probably one of the best. I've ran that match.
Yeah, he's very good at absorbing the pressure. And so overall, I'm gonna start
remaining.
first. So I think I'm with Liquid here. I think they have the lanes to absorb the Kotal Beastmaster pressure. They have the Tide against the Void, which I would always favor the Tide. So I'm just gonna go with Liquid here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Void is generally for LGD makes this.
I'll go with LGD then. They have a good vision game, and they are not relying everything on the combo with the Void. So even if the chrono is down, they can still take a fight.
I guess we will never agree on anything.
I was waiting for it. I mean, I knew that you wouldn't actually pick the same team. Why would you? The fight will continue between Lacoste and Winter after we get the real fight, which is occurring inside the arena for Game 1 between LGD and Liquid.
Padding really has nothing on this. LGD versus Team Liquid, a full best of 3. The winner of this series will be the first team at DAC to secure those DPC points. Kyle, the panel was a little bit more split. Lacoste went for LGD, and after our little discussion during the drafting phase as well, seems like you were leaning LGD's way as well.
Yeah, I think Kotal Beastmaster is still one of the more broken combinations in this meta. They first picked Beastmaster. They obviously came into this game prepared to pick this combo, and I don't think Liquid addressed it very well. If you look at LGD's core lineup, Beast, DK, Void, they have a lot of options for initiation, and I feel like if you look at Liquid's lineup, their supports just die. And once the supports are gone, you're gonna have this Viper, Lifestealer, Tide lineup, and none of these heroes actually make rotations themselves. They're totally reliant on the relocates and good glimpses and a strong laning phase, and I don't think you can outlane LGD's lineup right now.
It does seem kind of crazy. Like, we were looking for combinations, right? Like we looked at the IO, like, well, what's going to be coming up? The Huskar was the 5th ban out from LGD. The other hero you're tossing up was an Alchemist pickup as a possibility for Team Liquid, and this would give them something to play around. But I'm wondering, like, what's Liquid's win condition? We've seen them time and time again throughout this tournament have these lineups which push around like that 15 to 20 minute mark and normally win the game by the 25 to 30 minute mark. In this game, what is their timing when you have Lifestealer, Viper, Tidehunter? Is it all about the team fight against a Faceless Void?
I'm really not sure. It was just surprising to me because they picked even Viper into Kotal, which the Liquid's it makes sense if they're trying to play this game like more of a tempo, take the game early. But I look at LGD's lineup and I think, how are you ever gonna pressure tier 2s without a large advantage? And Kotal is like one of my favorite heroes to play against Viper because you just blind him away and he's a creep now and he's just sitting there. Mana leak him, it's such a hard matchup for him, and I don't see that roaming rotation hero that a Wisp can really play with. And I think GH's Wisp is a lot stronger when they have kill potential in all lanes and both supports are free to move around. Disruptor doesn't really like to do that, and he is gonna be playing top with a Tidehunter?
Yeah, he's actually, well, at least the Aya is going to be sitting with a Tidehunter. The Disruptor, Kuro is going to be with Miracle on the bottom lane, trying to balance this out. Thanks to the early ward from Team Liquid, they can at least watch the rotations. It's a little bit more of an unusual ward being further to the north. FY gets its own obs down. As he runs back over the river, this will give Kuro the information he needs to know the ward has been planted. He needs this D-ward to make this bottom lane work.
I think you want to switch lanes.
Miracle? Are they actually going to?
You can't contest 3, but I think LGD wants to switch lanes. You want the Kotal Beast against the pressure of IO Tide. If it's this is what happens.
He has to paralyzing cast, good distance from GH. He can't tether back over again. But it's just having to get away. This is why Witchlet is such a great hero against Io, because the paralyzing cast keeps him so close. But under the tower, GH, he'll need 2 more hits to get that kill. The Tango regeneration of Witch Doctor gave him just enough. Arme kind of wanting to keep the pressure on GH because they grab the creep wave and they can pull it down. Looks like Mind Control with a Gush wants to pull it over.
I think this might come back to bite LGD because Liquid wants the Lifestealer against the pressure of the Kotal Beastmaster. You just farm under tower, have a lot of natural sustain, whereas up top, the IO Tide just pressure the crap out of the Switch Doctor Void.
Kuro was able to get the D-ward on the bottom lane, so they'll go a little bit further their way. Yeah, look at Mind Control, doesn't even give a crap about the Faceless Void. He's just trying to keep that Witch Doctor out. 1 more Tango to work with. There's 5 on the Faceless Void, so they can split it up a little bit. But if they can keep this Witch Doctor out of play, GH can just continue to bottle spam, there's aggression. This actually reminds me very similar, like, it actually reminds me of a classic Jimmy strat, the support Tidehunter bottle, where you can just run around the map and you've always got that level 1 gush as easy harassment, and you only need like 1 bottle charge to get up to it. It's very, very similar with the never-ending tether of GH.
Difference is Jimmy never had a GH Wisp to play with.
That's what makes this the stronger, right? So it makes this dual off lane potentially work. CS-wise, it's a bit of a whitewash for both sides on top lane.
Over time, I think both off-lane dual lanes are stronger, but it's going to be about who really controls the tempo throughout this mid game, and I just fear for Liquid.
Going again on bottom with that strike. Chalice, Miracle actually backs off, looking to dodge the axes and not come underneath the creep wave or that. The Illuminate spam, the real problem for the cause on the lane. I love this crowd as well. Wild Wing gets killed by LGD. Woo! little bit of bias towards LGD here, obviously.
Just a little.
Well, nice regeneration room for GH to bottle up on the top. He needs to get back over to Mind Control, who's trying to just stay in the trees, or maybe not over towards Somnus. Matoman with the extra buff up. He's got 1 more poison attack. Somnus, he is going to live. Drop down to about 20 HP and burns the salve instantly.
I would have liked to see Matumba Man put a point in his Nether Toxin before this initiation, because if he's level...
They're going again underneath that mid tower. The Breathe Fire is out. GH, he's happy to do this because with the regeneration rune, they can just get that life back again. I think Chalice also was looking to have a crack at bottom as Somnus. Okay, Matumba, you waited way too long. The Maledict is out. The Paralyzing Cast will bounce. As Chalice gets the kill on Akuro, and Somnus punishing the diving Matumba in mid lane.
It's really good skill build from Maybe. He went 1-0-2, 2 points in the Dragon Blood, and Matumba Man didn't compensate by putting an early point Nether Toxin. So he's just running around with 6 extra armor and regen, and they don't have the tools to get rid of it.
And that bottom lane as well, like the creep wave came underneath the tier 1 tower. This was what was allowing Chalice to just basically freely move against the Team Liquid safe lane.
Yeah, but there's nothing a Disruptor can do in this lane. I actually thought that Liquid would be the ones to pick the Witch Doctor just to alleviate some of this pressure, but Kuro's Disruptor has no real... He doesn't offer anything to this Lifestealer down here.
He offers punishment potentially later for extra like team fight control.
They also didn't purchase a Sentry, which has allowed LGD to just keep playing on this hard camp.
Kuro needed a level 1 glimpse to be in range, but he wasn't. The wall did not control FY. Miracle was ready just to open wounds and kill. Timing just a little off.
I'll dig that.
All the lanes going very well for LGD. Mind Control might get this DD top, though, and set up on mid.
Somnus knows he has to turn around. If he gets gushed up right now, there goes some of that armor. The Dragon Tail stun buys time, but it won't matter. Mind Control with a double damage rune and already being slowed, the DK cannot escape.
Yep, that was a nighttime kill, because if the ward does see that rune, but Mind Control timing it very well, comes into vision just before, just when DK crosses the line of no return.
So Team Liquid gets something back with the DK. The laning phase is still not absolutely perfect. That's why they're trying to add more pressure down the bottom lane, having 3 heroes attacking into Chalice. Support's coming in from the Witch Doctor. Illuminous spam is ready, but with GH's medic abilities sitting on the sidelines and getting hit by this, they can keep the chain going. Chalice able to escape, very, very low, but alive. 45 HP, and those stick charges coming in very handy.
And he also, he's going Medallion, and he purchased a Chainmail. If he doesn't have that extra armor, he dies there 100%.
FY smart TP out, but glimpse. Marta still, Kuro able to ensure that Miracle can claim that kill, leveling the score up at 2 apiece. Up
top, though, you have a Void. This is the hero to watch in this game, because Void can get to the point where he has a Battle Fury, Shadowblade, BKB. I don't see how LGD can lose the game, because there's no real save for the Chrono. Wisp Relocate doesn't really count in a game like this, where you're inevitably going to be playing against this massive vision advantage from LGD, with Coddleags and Beastmaster Birds flying everywhere.
But the only thing you've got is the ability to tether and stay outside of the Chronosphere, a Relocate save out from GH. Bottom lane, they're going once again over onto Chalice. Kuro gets the ball up and running. X-Nova is here. Paralyzing Cast flies down and bounces over to the creep wave and back back over to GH. So unlucky for him, but it's great for LGD. Maybe not so much when Charles is dead, but if they can get Kuro, they can make this all worth it. FY trying to force the issue. Kuro, Steve Charge give him the life, so even that very fast channel Illuminate from FY not doing enough work. Miracle open wounds comes back off cooldown, so X-Nova starts his TP, but Kuro is waiting for it. The level 2 glimpse pulls him back in, and Miracle will claim now his 3rd kill for this bottom lane.
Liquid playing this matchup very well. They need to continue rotating the Wisp in with these teleports to help out this lane, because they need kills down here. They can't play around the Tide top.
No way for Mind Control to really survive this. Like, even if he does get far enough back, they can just chrono him up, but Somnus commits the dragon form.
Yep. It's just really good. It's really smart by Liquid, and you can see why they went TI, because the only place Wisp can actually make plays is maybe middle and specifically bottom. So that's where he's playing. Up top, yeah, Tide dies, but no one can be there, and if they are, it's just wasted effort. You will never kill this Void, so play away from him.
All they can do is try and survive bottom lane once again. Team Liquid pushing into LGD. This time the glimpse comes as the aggressive one, not to just cancel a TP. A Chalice in real hurt. The positioning's really nicely split from Team Liquid. It's only one hero that ever gets hit by that Illumina Blast, and now Mind Control, trouble for him. He's just short of level 6. Support's coming up in the form of the Tumbleman, but without that level 6 on the Titan, they can't really do much more. He needs one creep to die so they can have the Ravage available to get this fight going their way. More TP support is still on the way, and Ame, he dives in deep. The Chronosphere, it clips Kuro. GH has the tether off. Mind Control, healing through it. He's actually been kept alive. Ame in the trees. He's gonna go down. Team Liquid, they survive under the tower. And LGD, what was meant to be a simple and efficient kill on a Tide Hunter,
He's got the glimpse.
was so much harder. And can they pull him back? No.
Mangoed for that. It's just such good movement from Liquid, and it's one of those games where they don't really have the ability to make plays, but they can be incredibly reactive if they respond properly. And you saw the splitting there. Ame did not want to use the chrono that late, but Tidehunter playing left side, Viper playing near the ramp on the right. He can never get both, and that allows GH the time to come back, save him even through the chrono by pre-bottling.
Yep. That was wonderful play by Team Liquid. It could have actually been a disaster for LGD. If one more creep had died in that top lane and Tide had 6, it would have been a very simple 3-man Ravage. They're preparing a gank in middle lane. LGD, thanks to that Invis rune. Kuro, he's here, looking for the extra glimpse. Matama just starts on the Beastmaster. Not a lot Beastmaster can do apart from throw out some axes, get a revenge kill onto Kuro. So it's 1-for-1 trade-off Matama. Not a lot of life. These one-shots not available. The body block from Somnus just trying to keep Viper under control, but now Mind Control will arrive. He actually has no mana whatsoever. So I don't know what he's looking to achieve with this apart from just body blocking out Somnus.
Yeah, up top, it looks like GH killed the Witch Doctor under tower, I believe with the assistance of Mind Control, because his Ravage is on cooldown.
Yeah. He burned it. We were watching mid at the time. I don't know if we have a secondary camera that caught that, but there's now she gives free space for GH to catch up to level 6.
Real quick, one thing that I, again, neglected to see at the drafting phase was, while LGD's lineup is great.
They pulled back Somnus. He's starting up his TP. Glimpse has already been used, which is why he's been able to TP away, but the tick damage still very high, but not enough.
Look at Liquid's lineup. Tide, Viper, Lifestealer going this Armlet build with a Wisp. Does LGD have the damage to actually kill Liquid in a team fight? Because until they get a lot of core items up, I think Liquid might be able to actually walk down lanes, bait spells, and as long as they don't take some massive team fight where they lose 2 or 3 right off the bat, if the Wisp stays alive, no one's going to die. We saw this at TI, that's why GH Wisp is auto-banned.
You know, I would feel more confident in LGD to have that damage if they had high points up in Maledict, but they don't. Like, the supports are the most, well, the ones who are struggling the most. Keeper of the Line can delay things, but you are right. Team Liquid's major strength is strength itself. If they can survive through it all.
It's just, all of LGD, they have no legitimate magical damage. It's just Void, DK, Beastmaster. And if their auto attacks throughout the duration of their initiation, the Roar, the Chrono, and the DK,
Glimpse,
they have nothing.
they're waiting for the time walk over an Ame. At the same time, LGD are bringing a lot more support in. DK's coming in from the left. Ame's got one more time walk available, not to mention his Chronosphere, and he gets both of them. Kuro again, clipped on the edge, but I don't think they're really meant to get Somnus too. So Lifestealer just infests inside the catapult. Kuro can get stunned up, but he will die. FY's Illuminate takes care of that.
They don't kill Miracle, though, and that was a big rotation.
that was a smoke rotation as well. These smokes are going to become more like few and far between.
And I'm looking at the item build. You're going to have the Viper going for Helm of the Dominator. An incredible item on Wisp because it not only gives the regen to your teammates, it gives 1.5 that regen to the Wisp tether target in addition.
Aya's in trouble. He needs to get away. Someone needs to be closer. And he's actually got the Catapult Lifestealer, who also refused to get out until now.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, GH just needs to control the bounty runes for the next one. He's going to be straight back up again.
So very close to 6. And that's when the Liquid's lineup gets really scary, because while they can't move around the map that efficiently, they can plant one of these really annoying tanky cores in every lane and reload one of them to the fight as Kuro TP's in, and all of a sudden they have 4 heroes there. 1 kill, 2 kill turnaround, then there's a tower. They can rinse, repeat this the whole game.
They're already preparing for the top 5. GH and Kuro with smoke running all the way north. A simple walk, X-Nova, he's going to be a very simple kill. They can glimpse him back when the time is right. He was standing perfectly still, so they walled it to begin with. And just let Mind Control take care of the rest. A perfect split, making sure the Paralyzing Cast doesn't do anything, and even allowing Matumberman to get the last hit. So no glimpse having to be burned, saves a lot of mana for Kuro, and they've still got that big ultimate, the Disruptor, to try and control the Faceless Void.
Look at Miracle's positioning, just providing so much information for his team. He knows bottom is unsafe, so he'll just run around, check the stacks, and probably look to connect on middle here, or just run back bottom.
That's a long run around. Somnus is starting his own TP. He's heading towards the top lane.
Nice info, though.
Yeah, he saw the final part of the TP, so Miracle knows actually he TP'd mid. It's Keeper of the Light who TP'd to the top. And Mind Control, yeah, the dive is coming. Faceless Void still available. Keep that in mind. Ravage, it gets burned. They see Faceless Void. If Kuro can get that ulti off, actually they just split it up. Ame is focusing on GH. He's got Tether off cooldown in 1 second time, and he's already starting to relocate. Mind Control, they go towards mid. They keep the battle under the tier 1 towers, but it's the mid tier 1 tower. Kuro will lose his life on the top lane. And you know GH is going to be heading back up there. They're taking the tide with him. Ame, Chrono, he still wants to make sure that GH is the primary one to die. So Chrono spears up. The tether is there. Not to mention the 7 one charges available. They're going to get a little bit more life back. And the time blocks from Ame were just too good. Miracle will arrive and they'll dive under the tower and kill off X-Nova. Nothing will prevent this, but a little bit of RNG allows LGD to have more of an even trade.
A great example of great Dota, but sometimes you just get Ice Frog. A really good movement, though. They knew DK had TP on cooldown. They see that he's middle. Instead of sitting bottom in a lane where he's susceptible to a roar and maybe a rotation, Miracle runs mid. They reload out. They use the Ravage, knowing they can force this fight, kill the Coddle, and then they get the extra one middle, and it leads to a tower. And it's just super good play from Liquid. Like, they're moving around the map very well, and their timing is here pretty damn soon because they have the Helm of the Dominator finished on Viper. Every Ravage, they can make plays like this, and LGD actually cannot take fights into Ravage.
Yep. So they have to delay it, right? Like, so how do they prepare for this? Is it going to be through BKBs? Is it going to be through better initiation with a Faceless Void? Once he gets the Mask of Mana, does he have enough damage in the Chronosphere to be the instigator?
They don't really have damage. Like, for this entire game, all Liquid needs to do is kill this Coddle. That's it. All of a sudden, Tidehunter he's just going to sit there and be fat.
LGD's pinging out. They see GH. They're getting 2 wards down, looking to make sure they can see any kind of movement from Team Liquid into their own southern jungle. Ravage on cooldown for 30 more seconds, so this is a small window of opportunity for LGD. They don't have everybody they need. They can bring him in with FY, but his Spirit Form is actually wearing out now.
But just look, Liquid's still playing all 3 lanes, and LGD's not confident to enter any one because they know, like, look at the pairings. Wisp behind Tidehunter. Mid, you have Disruptor Viper. Up top, Miracle by himself. Like, they're playing around the right course, and it puts LGD in a spot where they don't know where to play.
Yep. Because they can't kill anyone, and anyone they do want to kill, instantly you have to know there's going to be a relocate onto it. Or Mind Control's underneath the tier 2 tower, so you can have TP support arrive fairly quickly too.
And the item choice is perfect. I love it. I was thinking, who's going to buy the Crimson Guard? None of the cores really want one, so it's going to be GH's Wisp. Tide's getting the mech, Lifestealer Armlet Deso, and the Viper with the 834.
Here they go, Mind Control, relocate, GH is prepping it, and there's your tether, Mind Control ravages, and they pull him out, but he dies to the Maledict, pulled out to the tier 2 tower. So the Ravage was blown. Kuro's looking for a target. He'll see FY for half a second. Actually, he won't. It's still not daytime. That's in 2 seconds' time. Miracle will find FY. The TP begins, but you know the Glimpse will cancel it. So it's an FY Keeper of the Light with that big Tidehunter and Ravage blown as well.
If, real quick, check out the LGD vision. While they've had control of this area, they placed one ward on the Shrine, another in the mid lane, and then a really good ward if left uncountered. It's already been up for near full duration, up by the hill near Radiant top tier 2.
Yep.
They scout this Ancient stack as well.
They were definitely ready for any kind of fight that did happen on bottom lane. Even if the odds are bad, the vision allows them to take a better opportunity, because that Observer Ward was watching the rotation of Team Liquid back down to the lane. But now it looks like they feel confident enough. So Chronosphere is still up, but Liquid will push the final tier 1 tower of LGD. LGD will get a trade-off of their own, pushing in the top lane.
There's the Deso on Miracle. They're so strong on Liquid. They don't need Ravage. You cannot fight into this lineup right now, and they might find the Coddle.
Yeah, they're looking for him in the trees. He cut through a little bit. Miracle with that forced up FY into the trees, and he knows. HY was wrong. Actually, Blinding Light pushes him back down again. He can't TP for 8 seconds, and Kuro dies to FY under the tier 2 tower. What a beautiful play. Pushing GH and Miracle down the hill, bought enough time. And now, maybe it's LGD. Arme's got Chrono available. GH as well as Miracle in the trees. There's the Chrono out. The tether is up, but the damage is too much for GH to repair in time. Even with that bit booster, Dragon Tail follow-up, and the Maldic life still is dead. He couldn't reach the creep wave to invest. LGD couldn't fight into it. Well, they just fought around it.
And it's all about that information. Look at this top ward by the Radiant tier 2. They know Viper is TP'd here, and they immediately look to collapse on bottom. And all that play is set up because of FY's movement. If he dies 15 seconds faster, it's not the same. It's an easy play. They see Viper in the creep wave. Ame sets up. He finds the Wisp and the Life Stealer, and now you can just rotate everybody. These guys will die. The strengths of Liquid's team fight is if they're together. The moment Viper Tide show apart, you can collapse where the Wisp is.
Oh, we come back alive straight to a fine glimpse. Kuro trying to get away from this fight, and they're going to protect that Ancient stack of theirs. Liquid, they've been controlling this map, it feels, for the last 10 minutes, but now LGD turn the tides, and Liquid look for something else. They go in towards Roshan.
They would have wanted to do this before that engagement bottom. That was their next play. Unfortunately, they died first. Once it's all this death on Life Stealer, because now they can do Roshan, as you can see, no damage taken, and he dies fast.
That he does. Miracle looking so powerful already with that Armlet and Desolator. Matuluman going to go in for both Dominator and then into a Maelstrom build for this Viper. So getting a bit more of a mix.
I like it, and it allows both him and Miracle. They win very rapid scaling items, cheap tier 3 core items instead of rushing for something crazy like a butterfly. We've seen how that worked out in the past on Matumba Man. I like this decision. Hard Maelstrom, it'll allow him to keep scaling, do damage, and you love having a Mjolnir whenever you're playing against the Beastmaster. Oh, Glimpse on Coddle.
Goodbye. The control, just thought it was the dominated Hellbear that gave him the vision. Now FY is kind of trapped up on top lane.
They can go high ground here, Toby.
They will
this
definitely
is their
want to.
timing. Liquid is so strong.
You have Mech, you have Ravage. That's exactly what they want to have going into the high ground. Desolator, Miracle's going to be a frontline tank, but Tumbleman's the clearance from behind. Yeah, this is going high ground. This is taking tier 3 tower, and no one from LGD is here to actually fight this. Arme's pushing bottom.
Look at the ward to their left as well. They'll find this Coddle as he runs back to base.
Boy, the tier 3 tower is going down. Fortification's already been burnt from LGD, so no more of an option. In comes FY. FY actually going to blinding light them. 4-staff up into the hill, so even if they do see him, they did not kill him. But remember what Team Liquid came for. 20 minutes in, they're looking to claim a lane of Rax. They're not happy with what they've got so far. Mind control, mana leaked, Maledict. This is not what he wants to have on him. But it's okay. He's still got enough mana to fight.
Maybe cut the creep wave middle so they know there's no point in sticking around. His backdoor protection will come up too quickly for them to actually finish a kill on a Rax.
boy. LGD, they knew this fight was going to come once they realized just how strong Team Liquid were. Has no physical damage moment again, right? Like, the drafts, it's never won on a draft. It's on the execution. It's the way that these teams know how to play these drafts to make them sink.
This is LGD's timing, though. They have the Ags on Coddle. They have the sustain to outlast Liquid if they can kill the supports.
They're going to try and fight. So yeah, you got 4 minutes until nighttime. That's what you'd mentioned. Driving back with the rest of his team. Team Liquid, all they have to do is just rotate down to the bottom lane. If LGD want to come out and fight them, they'll be happy to oblige. Observer and Sentry is there. LGD back up instantly. They know what's coming. They Sentry, the dust is out. Somnus burns the BKB.
seconds
lanes.
remaining.
And last game, Liquid had to pull GH from the off lane to the safe lane to deal with that.
The performance that go off anything, a fashion that we not see
Yeah.
too well.
This was the pick that I expected the last game against the Beastmaster. They're gonna
10
go for it
seconds
now.
remaining.
Maybe anticipating another Kotal game. And Night Stalker does
5
go really
seconds
well with
remaining.
Disruptor. Give the vision into the glimpse.
To be GH's Night Stalker.
MC has played it, but I think it was very long ago. I'm not sure how long ago was it, but Night Stalker can definitely still fit a core role.
Yep.
So technically still quite a flexible opening for Liquid here. And generally against Night Stalker, you wanna draft around more group up team fight because you are not going to have fun if you're split up and trying to farm. Because Night Stalker with the vision control will make it very difficult for you to do that. So I think some sort of like team fight build up here would be good for LGD. I don't really like Beastmaster against Night Stalker.
Also, one of the reasons that I don't like Tusk as a first pick, the Sigil, if you somehow sneak it into the later stages of the pick, if they don't have a lineup that can kill Sigil, that is actually huge. With the Night Stalker, he can fly over the hills, see where the Sigil is standing, has a high attack speed, and he can take down Sigil pretty quickly as well. It's about those little things.
It's a bonus thing about Tusk. Sigil is something I would say underrated.
Yes.
It's very good against, say, I think Brewmaster is one of a very good example to give. You use your ultimate, you split, and the Sigil is like following your splits. So it makes it very difficult to output damage.
I like this just because it, like they.
This is
still
the
have-
kill lane. No, the kill lane, Tusk and Lash. This
Yeah.
is very likely going to be their mid hero. I think right now LGD is just trying to enable the Tusk pick
10
to
seconds
be
remaining.
putting a lot of pressure onto Liquid in the laning phase.
and it's still relatively open,
5 seconds remaining.
but we haven't
Yeah.
seen that from. Feels like both teams are trying to get more information. A
Which is, I think, very important with how teams are
Dire
drafting
King's
right
turn
now.
ban.
The more information you can squeak out, the better opportunities you have at outdrafting your opponents. So they take out the Abaddon. We've seen this hero from, was it Vici and Mineski yesterday?
Yeah.
It seemed to
10 seconds remaining.
have been able to create a lot of pressure with the Helm of Dominator, take down towers, a
5
lot of
seconds
laning
remaining.
presence, like a good front line for your team.
I think you also want to.
Radiant team's turn to ban. Dire team ban.
It might be up to something. They ban Abaddon and Razor. So those two heroes are very lane focused.
Dragonite, maybe, and Omni Knight as well.
Yeah, Omni Knight is the one I'm thinking. Because Omni Knight
10
does provide
seconds
you with the repel, which is great against the Lash. So you can
Yeah.
just dive and just kill
5
him.
seconds
And
remaining.
I also don't.
Yeah, I mean, with the Razor ban,
Radiant
I
team's
think
turn to
it's
pick.
putting a lot of pressure on them to think about, oh, they're not gonna take it out, so they're gonna leave it in the pool. Possibly also considering taking up on themselves. They ban out the Pugna, which is also Pugna and Viper are two very
Dire
good
team's
heroes
turn to pick.
against the Lash mid. So
So again, Liquid's lineup. They have one more pick. I don't think LGD plays Lone Druid, which is still in the pool. Fits Team Liquid's lineup pretty well. And if you look at the timings again, try to look into that whenever Team Liquid
10
plays.
seconds
They
remaining.
are trying to go for 20, 25-minute games
5
with the
seconds
first
remaining.
Roche. This first Aegis is really important for them.
So you can't get Rubik and find this flush. Funny that you better heroes spin away.
because long cooldown. Maybe it can work in very specific situations. I'm not very sure because I haven't played a lot.
Certainly not this situation. He's got disrupt and stalker against.
Very
So
nice.
All you need is Aeon Disc.
Yeah.
Yeah, found that out yesterday, didn't we? All we need here is a legendary FY.
Radiant team's turn to paint.
Faceless Void.
Or we can just go back for the Void.
Team fight. And Void is one of the, I think back before Omni was changed, Void was one of the better heroes against the Repel and the Guardian Angels, because just Chrono, you want to have a
10
disable
seconds
that goes
remaining.
through the Repel. That is the key thing of defeating Omni Knight. You need to have that
5
spell.
seconds remaining.
And I guess the Void now, no Tide.
Yeah, they can't really pick the Tide, and they're gonna grab the bear that was left in the wild,
Yep.
you know, somewhere.
But they need not to pick any big ulti cooldowns on side of LGD, because Team Liquid's lineup doesn't rely on anything.
Really,
They
really
can just
fast.
fight all the time.
Well, the thing with Lone Druid is
10
it's gonna
seconds
give them freedom. The supports are not gonna be needing to spend as much time as
5 seconds
babysitting
remaining.
the Lone Druid,
Team's
so
turn to ban.
maybe Disruptor gets a couple of levels, he's gonna move around. That's a good pick against the Lone Druid. It's gonna limit his damage, and they're gonna need like wave clear against the incoming 5-man of Liquid.
Yeah. Also, kind of puts you on equal.
Yeah,
10 seconds
and
remaining.
Void will provide the Chronosphere as a disable for that Firestorm, which is
5
really
seconds
potent,
remaining.
a lot of damage.
It still means we can go either way here for LGD. They can lap
Mid hero or
some sort of
left
mid hero, or they can
support.
fail it.
But I don't know, like Phoenix is great against, because it's percent damage, it's great against the bear, but
Yeah.
it's a long, like in a slow hero. But I've said that twice already when I see the hero, like from Vici, but Vici won both of their games with Phoenix, so maybe Phoenix can work if given the right composition around him, because Phoenix still does fight really well outside of the Supernova, the Sunray.
Could be a Dragon Knight, or they might shift back to Witch Doctor, which is good against the bear as well.
Yeah.
But I think Witch
10
Doctor
seconds
makes the
remaining.
draft stable. I'm also favoring that. But then you run the
seconds
risk of your, because you're gonna put a Lash mid, so I think you might expect the Lash to have a bad mid matchup, or maybe they could do the Lone Druid mid against the Lash. I don't know if that's a good matchup for the Lone Druid. I'm not sure, but you should be okay, I think, as a Lone Druid, so they have that flexibility between what kind of lanes they want to have.
They don't have much lockdown. Maybe I'm thinking of
10
some
seconds
burst
remaining.
damage. Queen of Pain. They need something that comes online
5 seconds remaining.
fast. So Lone Druid will have enough time to farm his Radiance, or maybe
What
a
about just
or a
like
DP or a DP. She's really not bad against the task rotations. You can always two-man Spirit Siphon.
You don't want to roll on DP, generally. Very difficult for them to kill him. Does provide them with like some team fight, which their team fight is not that weak. Omni Knight ulti and the Disruptor ultimate, plus the vision control from NS.
Yeah, they have a lot of silence if they go for a DP. Night Stalker, Disruptor ulti. No.
Choose your hero.
They just want to play a fast-paced game. I think this is a good direction when you're up against especially heavy cooldown ultimates. You're just gonna brawl, you know. You're not gonna need your ultis as much as LGD is gonna need their ultimates.
another focus on the lane.
Yeah,
Matched up against
because
Underlord.
Lone Druid is not a good matchup against Underlord in the lane, and Lifesteal is a much better matchup.
Yeah. Then going into the mid.
Okay, go down the line, Cat.
It's a similar draft, I think.
Does feel a very similar draft.
Yeah, very similar draft, and I think LG's lanes, but this time are not as strong as before, so they're good.
Okay, do for Liquid.
I'll go with the Liquid.
Oh,
Again, I'm in
welcome.
this.
What's going on? Like, did you too hug or something?
Now Lacoste is agreeing. with
What's
Winter.
going on?
Come on.
Weird.
Let's make peace. No?
All right, well, it got kind of friendly and then it went off the rails. So they've all gone for Liquid here on the panel. I guess they're all going for the team that won the first game. Can they convert, though? Can they make it 2-0 and reach yet another final, this time for a major? We're about to find out.
Welcome everybody back to the Shouting Cast. I'm Toby One here with Swindle Melons, and we are going to get underway. It's actually really loud in here. That's why we're shouting during game 1. But game 2 will hopefully be super. Hi Kyle, how you doing, Kyle?
Hey, Toby.
Hi, Kyle.
I'm doing good. I'm just hanging out, relaxed, watching some Dota 2.
Yeah, you know, just having a cold one back
Yeah,
on the
nothing
couch,
crazy.
just enjoying a game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too complimentary of the best team in the world. You know, I might be a little biased. You know, they only won 1 TI.
Come on,
Anybody
they're
can
not
win
even
one
NA.
TI.
Come on,
Yeah.
like what the hell, man?
They-
Like I thought it was only NA and VP
Yeah.
that were any good.
I mean, Kuroki's been in the scene for what, like 12 years?
I think
Why couldn't he win a TI in
I
07?
think it's actually closer to 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to date back before the dawn of time. But yeah. Sorry, just to clarify the joke at the very, very beginning, we got a lot of feedback at the end of game number 1. We were shouting a little bit because the Chinese are even amped up even more in our ears, right? And this crowd gets a little bit
Hey.
louder too. Hence,
But no
the shout.
excuses.
No excuses?
It's all about the show.
All right. You suck then, Kyle. Get
Guys,
good, all right?
It's my first time.
Yeah.
Real quick, LGD placed these 2 wards without being seen. They got 1 on the mid, 1 blocking the pull in the bottom lane. So should help secure their area. They are going to play around this Tusk with the shard block on bottom. So Underlord, one of the heroes that's favored in a matchup against the melee hero if he gets a little help. So I think they get him level 3, and then he should have a really good time down bottom against Lifestealer. But top, Ame's going to have a lot of issues.
Yeah, they're trying to just zone him out completely or keep the attention of the Witch Doctor towards that top lane too. And X-Nova, at least like we saw his Witch Doctor in game 1, it was very effective at adding more pressure, adding more zone. A little bit of trouble for Miracle, but he's okay.
Yeah, the key hero for LGD is going to be their Leshrac. I think maybe he's their X factor as a player, and that hero, if he gets ahead, can just sort of take over. It's the same though, where they really only have this Chronosphere to play around, and as we just saw last game, Liquid plays around that incredibly well.
Yeah. If they had their flying vision, the Night Stalker, like repel positioning of the Omni Knight's going to be critical for him, and even Kuro. Like Kuro has been able to punish it so heavily too. Like the Chrono doesn't work, it's kills that come directly after because you're getting glimpsed back into ball storms. This is really problematic for Miracle. He's got open wounds, so if anyone decides to actually fight him underneath the T1 tower, he's going to let that rip and get a lot more life back. So he's playing the edge of the knife, but he's not going to get cut just yet.
But this is the sort of advantage. Underlord actually crushes the lane.
Double TP. He's got open wounds onto Chalice. Kuro arrives too. As Chalice tries just fight underneath the tower, snowball protection, but GH and Kuro are here. Miracle is low, so gotta be careful how much damage is out. Chalice will get the first blood. He'll lose his life instantly after him. There's not enough mana to really keep this chase going on FY.
The early landing phase definitely favoring LGD. They did a lot more to shut down the Lifestealer than Liquid was able to do up top against Void, especially because Void versus Omni is not nearly as unfavorable as a behind Lifestealer versus an Underlord.
Generation.
The run for the regeneration rune. GH comes out on top. And FY, he'll have to burn off his clarity for it. So a 50 gold run. Mind Control's gonna have a little bit of fun with X-Nova. Not really the greatest hero to try and zone out an Omni Knight. An Omni Knight went for the 1-0-1 so far.
At mid lane, though, maybe slight advantage against Matumba Man, and I actually think he'll continue to increase his advantage as he gets more levels. This lightning stun build on Lesh is very potent.
Bottom, snowballs are out. Charles is in trouble. Again, he has to go for the Rains of Fire. Kuro can't get the distance out, but GH, it'll be revenge. Once again, Charles will sacrifice himself. Time it won't be for a core, it'll just be for a support.
He's done a very good job of spending his money as he dies, though, so he's not losing anything on these deaths.
Nova finally able to do something with that 1 point up in Malad. Harassment into the Omni Knight. Scar was on his way in. He's actually hiding in the tree lines for the moment.
I don't like TP. They lose a lot of strength in the bottom lane with their crushing right now. All for full kill. very optimistic, and
Radiant structures within snow
My
fort.
control try.
so
It?
and no, against
Point out back well, to delay the
yeah. I love little things like that. Dota is such an incredibly difficult and complex game. Every patch changes it ever so slightly, and part of the reason you see teams that like they win one land, they get knocked out first at the next is it's so hard to stay on top because there's all these little things that you learn from other teams. Like even just like we saw Zai's ward the other day, right? Where he cuts a tree and places it at the top right of the camp, and now they miss both sentries. Like that'll never work again, but it might get you one advantage in one game.
For a moment there, I thought we were going to have a nice close replay of that moment, but instead we see the Roshan statue and then LGD.
Dude, it was sick.
That Roshan statue is actually really, really cool. I like the little miniature ones we have.
Yeah.
The Dota 2 logo seems a little bit out of place, however. Like you can at least be stylish and like remember the old defense logo, which is the Dota 2 logo on the shield.
Yeah.
So like you just slam it on there. But we can come back live. The game has been unpaused. Everyone is no longer Carlet, and we can continue the match.
I will say, I can't really tell you who's gonna win this one. It's all about the timings, and I just love Underlord. I think that this hero is key when you're trying to play. We saw it succeed yesterday against TNC. I think it's really key in a game like this. Liquid loves to play high tempo. So good.
Keep your eyes on mid. The Dire are scaling. They know some kind of gank is coming, but thanks to GH's Illusion Rune, it's going to charge around the back of the tower. The double stun's there from Sonos, but it never connects on a real hero. That's why they have to bring in the extra help. The Tusker, FY Snowball doing work, and the double Maldic. GH and Matoma need to get out of here. Thanks to help, they're having Kuro with the entangle. It connects onto Somnus. The luck is just not with him this day. Kuro has dragged the creep wave off the side as well, so LGD, they can't back and just chase this.
I think the Witch Doctor skill 201. I think if that's a 2-point Maledict, they might get at least one kill out of that. Perfect shrine timing, right at 5 minutes.
Oh boy. LGD, they're going to be a little annoyed about that. They committed a lot of resources to try and control that mid lane. Team Liquid just having the numbers.
But I just want to note, LGD might have made a critical error. When the Tusk rotated top, no one's been bottom. And now all of a sudden, Underlord's level 3, Miracle's almost level 6.
And Livestealer almost has the #1 CS on the board. As far as net worth goes, he's only behind by 100 or so.
And it's something you really want to avoid is ditching the lane that is winning. If they keep the Tusk there, they're going to be trading 2-on-3.
It's going both ways too. Like it's not even just the bottom lane; it's the top lane. Mind Control versus Arme. Like Arme is taking so much purification damage. He's burning Time Walk all the time, and he's about half a level or a quarter of a level behind that of the Omni Knight. This was a lane which had to have extra commitment early on to try and help Mind Control, and now Arme is the one falling behind. X-Nova, we're going to work with FY. FY having the haste rune, the perfect shard block, but doesn't matter when you have Hunter in the Night from G. Kuro, they want to fight this one. Mind Control is in the neighborhood. It's only a level 1 glimpse, so Kuro needs a little bit more distance to make this work. The shard powers in cast bounces up to Mind Control. He'll go into the creep wave. Then there you go. Kuro will end up popping. The glimpse doesn't pull the strike away fast enough. And they never even burned the shrine at the beginning, so LGD get everything back that they expended.
The thing is, mid lane, Matumba Man pushing hard with a catapult, level 6. And bottom lane, this is the key. Lifestealer crushes Underlord with this sort of lead. That's why they had to start there, but once you leave this guy on an island, he's in trouble.
Yep.
So Liquid will take that trade all day because they're winning the other 2 lanes and getting tons of creeps out of trade.
And Miracle can just sit behind the tower as well. Like, even if they want to attack him, he can just infest into a creep and just have a free trip away to safety. It's like an Uber you don't have to pay for.
And look at the ward he has to his left as well. This will see this rotation.
Top lane, Purification's out. Arme just uses Time Walk. That's what they're waiting for. They want to get a defensive chrono out from him. Thanks to the fact that you have no silence, however, Arme can just keep the jump going. GH, another Void in a little bit too deep. Nova, wow! Okay, they have the damage. They got Purification. Microtrol wants to help him. GH starts to TP with the Repel to protect him. The damage won't be there to kill him, but Microtrol locked in by the shards. F1 needs to stay with him, but actually, how? It's 2 points of degeneration aura. They can't kill him. They can't control him. They can't stop anything.
That's just perfect play. Ame makes a slight mistake. He doesn't want a chrono. He gets caught in between ideas, and he's dead.
He's committing to try and kill off this bear. But then again, maybe not just to the bear. They Savage roar it back. Ame double chrono. That's going to be nice. With the lightning bounce down, Somnus secures both of the kills on Kuro and Matumberman.
Really good rotation from Ame. The dive from Liquid is good, but they have to foresee that carry TP coming. And that's the thing. There's North American carries. They're not going to TP mid. They're like, oh, I'm behind. I need to go back and farm top. Ame's immediately looking to rotate, use that chrono, secures 2 huge kills for his team.
They're going to look to get another one top lane. Microtrol pushing the tower, but 3 heroes in the neighborhood. Paralyzing cast on the way. Quick repel, TP away to safety. Time lock.
Almost.
Not going to come, though. But this was such great kills for mid lane before. So Somnus is getting a lot more momentum now on the Latrak, a hero who you want to have this momentum on. He's got the double nulls, and he's going to go in for a Yule Scepter after also having Arcane Boots. So this Lesh, a lot of regeneration coming out.
I gotta say, I'm just completely unrelated, but I love watching Miracle play Lifestealer because he likes treads, which I appreciate, but he doesn't buy Radiance. And he doesn't max Feast, Toby. He maxes his Rage because it's his best scaling skill by far.
Mid gank, snowball forward. GH was just looking for his level 6. He was looking for the nighttime. He can go into Hunter of the Night, but it will be pointless. There is way too much control there from LGD, and no one from Team Liquid were coming to save him. And now with 1 point up in Edict, Fortification has to be burned here by Team Liquid. They're trying to get a revenge, which is the Hellbear Smasher and El Doge pushing that tier 1 tower. Thanks to the rotation of both Pit Lord, Underlord, as well as the Faceless Void. Doesn't have Chronosphere, but it's still intimidating enough that they're being a little bit more cautious about it.
Miracle's gonna TP mid, defend this push. You can't really mess with the Lifestealer that's this strong. He'll almost have his armlet, and in the meantime, he pushed out bottom and then left it for Kuro. So his movement secures Kuro some space because they need him to be level 6. And yeah, you saw the leap away. He almost got glimpsed back there.
That would have been disastrous, because that would have been just an easy lane for Kuro and even damage onto the tower. GH, trouble on the bottom river, trying to play the high ground. He's got 1 charges in a second, but with 3 points up in the Maledict, you realize there was no point to expend it. Top lane, the TP out from Challenge, you can get rooted up, but he'll still reach the bottom lane. He just couldn't fight the top lane. Every time the bear would attack the tower and they tried to contest it, the bear would get purified. So it just gets the damage back again. It does the damage and gets the life back again, allowing them just to keep forcing, and now they get the tier 1 tower.
And this is like, they have the double catapult now. Like, this is the strength of this Lone Druid build, which I think this little tweak, thanks to, I believe it was Envy who popularized this in SEA a couple of weeks ago. You don't get any of this weird buildup. You just go Helm of the Dom, no boots, straight into Radiance. And it's so much more effective than a Midas because it allows this hero to provide so much pace for his team versus just, okay, I'll farm woods by myself until ready.
Like, you push with a catapult wave and then you steal the other catapult.
Yep.
All of a sudden with your bear, you're doing like insane amounts of damage. Miracle's about to take this mid town. They'll burn the fortification once more, LGD. Somnus is the man in defense, and with 1 attack from the catapult, Miracle should be able to have it. So he's just zoning out Somnus so he can finish the tower. Able to do so, ensure the cash. Then bottom lane becomes the next target. A jump down. Kuro doesn't have level 6 just yet, so Mind Control will have to do this the old-fashioned way. The denial will be there. Vision, however, not there. And it's also only a level 2 glimpse, so no range either for Kuro to pull him back. He really needs some levels on this Disruptor.
I do believe they have the tome available, though, so once he can afford that, he will be good to go. He'll actually get 6 off of a tome. And I love this. 4-7, Liquid's down, yet they're still up 2,000 gold in advantage. And it's just to demonstrate how well they're prioritizing lanes, and also, of course, they have the 2 objectives, and they denied LGDs.
Discussing that during the group stage, right? Like, just how much kills don't mean as much. Just before this tournament even began, I was watching a couple of games from Newbie in the local Dota leagues here in China, and they were winning games against VG Gaming, where VG had like 36 kills and Newbie had like 20, and Newbie was still winning the game because at the end of the day, like the way they changed the comeback mechanic is so different too. But everything is worth. FY, target number 1. He'll need something to snowball to, or he can just try and make the trees in the shard block. GH gives the vision.
Yep, he saves the glimpse.
They find another target. They're going after Chalice. The pit is down. Miracle will be able to outrun it. GH trying to get that silence. Chrono Sphere. The glimpse pulling him away. They need more damage to connect into Miracle, and they've got it. Miracle will fall. Mind control. He just starts his TP under the cover of Repel. LGD have nothing to get through that. The shards, it won't block Kuro. He runs further down the lane, allowing X-Nova to potentially get in range for this. The paralyzing cast. GH keeping his distance, however, making sure there is no more bounce. And X-Nova, wait, what? Cancels his TP, wants to try and turn around with Maledict plus the Deathwood. No. Hunter in the Night. You know he's going to get away from those shots.
You can see why they picked this Night Stalker for GH. Very difficult for a Tusk to ever lock him down. Really good synergy, and the silence could be so key late game if they ever find one.
Yules mid, going to go in for that split up before Omni-Knight can actually get his Repel off. And they keep the stuns going thanks to Walrus Punch. And the damage of the Deathward of X-Nova. Miracle. Run around the shards. Somnus, now the rage wears off, and Somnus' damage is intimidating. So Infest escape.
Really well played there by Miracle. He does not want to get Yules with rage down because he can just die immediately as he comes back to Earth. Lots of stun lockdown from LGD.
LGD's got a huge rotation coming bottom lane too. So did Liquid. This whole mid fight just rotated over. X-Nova walking up into the blind spot. He didn't see it. The snowball is also there. It's onto the back of GH, and man, FY is going to go in deep. The shard block. He pushes him out. GH can fly over the top, but where's the stun? Where's the control? FY the glimpse. Kuro reaches him just in the nick of time.
And his ultimate ready. So this is the perfect timing to make a smoke, find a kill, Lone Druid pressures a lane, and you get tons of map control and a tower off of this play. If they get these wards down uncontested, it's going to be huge for Liquid. I think they take Miracle. Yep, they have no infest, but we'll see.
It's the weird part of this game, right? Like, you don't have a normal, like a natural carrier for a lifestealer bomb. Like, you got a Radiance Bear potentially later. That's an option. Miracle's just your frontline fighter, bringing the fight to the tier 1 tower bottom lane. Still doesn't have the full Desolator yet. I say still, as 15 minutes in. Observer Ward defensive up from LGD, gives really good vision of Kuro coming in, but then Kuro able to get the storm and the wall up, so X-Nova copping a lot of damage. Trouble, however, for GH, trying to retreat back out again, but here's your Walrus Punch, here's your control. He can't fly over in time, the wings get clipped, and the Night Stalker falls.
But if you look around, top lane, there's an Omni-Knight pushing, mid lane, there's a Lone Druid. That death is good for LGD, but do they really get anything out of it? They smoke immediately across to the left, but
sacrifice, right? Like, it's like Radiance is still on the way for the Lone Druid. The mech is coming up for mind control. This is going to give them such insane power in the team fights. Or potentially just like forcing even Roshan. Once the Desolator is on the line sealer, he can just slip inside the pit, and it's LGD's choice if they want to fight into it.
If the big timing is going to be the Radiance and the Deso, as you just mentioned. Mind control once again going for mech, but he's in trouble.
Yules into stun and into snowball that went a little bit off target, but kill will still happen nonetheless.
Yep.
It's happening again too with the Faceless Void. Because we were kind of having a little bit of debate after game 1 about the Faceless Void build. Going for this Mask of Madness, saying how you always see the Battle Fury. You need something to help him scale. He's going back into the BKB again.
I really don't like this. I feel like you have to buy items that accelerate you because, yeah, you might win this one fight with Mask BKB, but you will get out carried by Lone Druid.
Somnus, you overstayed your welcome. He turned around for a quick point up at Edict. X-Nova's in the neighborhood. He's already TPing out. Glimpse will pull him back. They want to get all three here. X-Nova going to go into the ultimate. Kuro will cancel with one of his own. And well, Matumba can just move the attention over towards the Witch Doctor. FY, successful TP. Yeah, it will be in time. Same for Leshrac, all the way home.
Yeah, really good move by LGD. They have both cores shoving side lanes, and excellent play. Man, FY is just so good at Dota 2. He saves his Leshrac there with really good just awareness. Snowballing close, sharding to save. You don't want to lose maybe there, and they get mid tower as a trade. But like, my only concern for LGD is how they scale as the game continues, because it looks to me like if you take out this Lesh, their damage output's gonna wither.
And that's what we're talking about with the Fates'
Exactly.
Void, where you need the Battle Fury to increase his items. So when he's got these three big tier 3 items, he does more. Chronosphere and damage for the moment. It should be enough because they caught Miracle with his armlet down. So there wasn't a lot of strength to fight with. They'll instantly turn this into tower pressure. That's 3 points up in Edict on this Leshrac.
I think if you're LGD, they have the Crimson Guard up. Next Chrono, maybe you look to contest Roche, but you have to try and win this game earlier, I feel, because once Lone Druid gets up to like that 3rd, 4th item, he's gonna start punishing this Void's item decisions hard. And Leshrac as well starts to fall off once you get to a point where a Lifestealer gets repelled and then rages, and you don't do any damage to him.
Radiance pair is up. Took 18 minutes for Lone Druid to get that Radiance. Potentially looking for a fight onto Kuro, running away from FY shards. He started the animation, or at least started the stop to try and get Snowball off for Kuro. He's just going to storm walk. He's Chalice on the end of it. Mind Control's going to be in the neighborhood. Repels up to FY. Snowball doesn't do any kind of stun, but GH, they're in through the rear. This Radiance Burning Bear is a real nuisance to him. A defensive Yulsep, but this time from Leshrac. He's got the distance. He's got the shield thanks to the Crimson Guard, but the Bear continues the Radiance burn. Somnus will go down. FY can't keep the run, and X-Nova's being glimpsed back over as well. FY will be able to escape from this one. X-Nova just commits, lets everything go, but so does the Omni Knight. GA to protect him from the physical damage. Means Maledict cannot do any more with its ticks.
Miracle already running into Roche. This is huge for Liquid. Chronosphere up in 30 though.
They'll have the confidence to do this before he's got the Desolator, primarily because Leshrac is down.
Yep.
Witch Doctor's not there, and Chronosphere is still on cooldown for another 20 seconds.
They can scout this, but Liquid or not, they play to win, Toby, and they're not backing down from this Roche.
Yeah, they want the Aegis to the Immortal. Kuro wants to be a little bit more cautious about this. Chalice gonna burn the Crimson Guard, coming out a little bit further forward. FY, maybe defensive Snowball. Yep, it will pull him in. Who are they gonna go towards? It's towards the Bear. And then the Centaur Stomp is the perfect position to get the double stun. They're running away out of pure fear from the Savage Roared Bear. And a buyback. Tuskar's coming in. They want to keep fighting this one. Chrono just came up cooldown. 3 heroes plus Bear being caught. Night Stalker's on the edge. The glimpse away. Night Stalker. Oh, perfect time lock. The first time he came back. Now they need the damage. Somnus turns it on with the Pulse Nova. Miracle. Rage can help him survive through this, but now Maledicted. The Kuro wall tries to create space, but Miracle has no friends nearby to invest into. Actually, he already used it. 3 heroes down. It's LGD that will go into the pit.
The story of the Force. GH starting that fight off great by silencing the Witch Doctor, preventing the Coconut to save. But LGD does something we've seen a lot at this tournament. They use 2 buybacks to contest the Roche. Now they get it. That's huge for them.
Something tells me we haven't seen
Massive as well, considering there was no way that Liquid were going to be able to get around that. There's no Bear for 72 seconds. It got killed off during the fight, and there's no resummon from Matumba, so he's right now just fighting with the Dominator, effectively removing about 4k gold from the map.
It's so big for them. We saw last game just how strong Liquid is. Once they hit this timing with Aegis, they get that core item on Matumba Man, the Deso Armlet on Lifestealer, and all of a sudden they can play so aggressively.
They want to go for more, a double damage on the Faceless Void. He was looking at GH. The BKB to protect Arme. That's fully completed 10-second BKB, as we do have a quick drop. Players were having a couple of problems previously, but this is now looking a little bit hairier. Let's have a look at this fight once more inside the pit.
And you can see, so there's the silence on Underlord, but I believe GH flies up, he finds the Witch
creates more space. Somnus, he can't get out of this one. He's locked inside the wall. So the Aegis Immortal will burn. The tier 2 tower has fallen. Needs the silence, didn't get either of these, and then the TP out from Arme will be successful.
Wow. The Underlord, man, the Firestorm is doing so much damage. Huge dilation. Maybe dies, barely casting any spells, but because he's just standing still, they're tanking all this AoE damage, and the Underlord's just crushing them. That whole duration of the
Okay.
It's a good idea if it works, but it's all about this BKB timing. The first Blade Mail is not going to do, like double proc isn't going to do much, but if he runs at the Leshrac with both of them and there's no BKB, then there's a big play.
TP from GH to try and stop X-Nova, who is just deboarding on Miracle jumping in deep. Chronosphere on cooldown for a while. They burn the BKB. Miracle, he needs to die, and he will die. That could be the game right there. If LGD can keep this push going, Lone Druid will respawn now. So the next
anything you wanted from the previous game.
Turn away
Sorry,
from this battle.
it's all gone.
We might see a first phase Terrabait here by LGD.
Yeah.
Or right, like value for both.
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know, I think LGD is
5 seconds
happy
remaining.
to get the Terrabait on Army.
I think that's
This is why it's so difficult to draft against Liquid. I love how it went from 0.3
seconds
seconds to
remaining.
just 1 second. Underlord, Faceless Void, Gyro. No time for them to adapt.
So I've been talking about the Terrabait, so maybe Terrabait +1. Witch Doctor or position 4 hero.
that is the other hero they like in this.
They seem to like to leave the position 5 hero for later though.
Yep.
Like from experience.
Yeah, through the group stages they did it, and they did it in the few games against Liquid
Beastmaster.
as well.
Bam. They love the first phase Beast as well. But they might consider going for
But that was
support hero here.
that was with Chen though. I see them picking that with Chen a
Dire
lot.
team's turn to
Oh
play.
yeah, Chen is in the pool.
That was the Omni.
TV.
Wow.
Omni.
Well, that's the risk they ran of removing what LGD like to play in the first 2 games.
Makes the disrupt.
10 seconds remaining.
Razor is
No,
still in the pool
You
against
think
the
about
Omni
this, yes, Razor's in the pool. Like
5
generally when
seconds
that's the case, teams will do Omni Knight plus Razor. Okay, so if you go Terrabait plus Omni, yes, if the enemy picks Razor, it's gonna be annoying for Omni, but Terrabait is a good carry to carry matchup against the Razor.
True.
So it puts it in a situation where the enemy wants to, if they want to pick the Razor,
Radiant
it's
team's
still
turn
kind
to
of
play.
a win-win situation.
And on
There it is.
Omni hits the lane.
Yeah. Does give LGD the opportunity of banning out the big well now in the second phase.
LGD is probably going to get rid of the Pugna, the second
10 seconds remaining.
stage. I mean, Liquid loves to run it, and it's, in my opinion,
5
one of the
seconds
better
remaining.
counters against the Terrorblade. It has the Net Ward, a lot of burst damage, Gripify against his physical damage.
Dire team's turn to ban.
Opa.
Radiant team ban.
Well, okay then.
Lich. That was,
Right.
I mean, that was against Lycan.
Yeah.
In Terrabait is like similar, like sieging heroes, you slow them down with the ice armor, the towers, and the heroes.
Liquid ban the Lesh Knight, but they can't really take it either.
10 seconds remaining.
So you're thinking about Terrorblade counter. Terrorblade
5
counters
seconds
are
remaining.
Timber, Tinker. But you give him a bad lane like Brood. The thing with Terrorblade is like he's not that weak in the lane either. He's this like
Dire
strong
team ban.
late game, mid gamer, but his laning phase is not weak.
Brood's gone. If they want the Brood, they have to take this second phase, surely.
Yeah, they have the fourth, like the pick here, so
Yeah.
it means that LGD has only one pick to respond if it's a good Brood game.
10 seconds remaining.
They're gonna need to pick to upset the balance of the lanes to make sure that the
5
Terrorblade
seconds
does not
remaining.
have a good start. Because Terrorblade and Omni, they are both heroes
Radiant team's turn
that
to
are
play.
very strong in the lane given the right matchup. So Liquid has to be careful not to allow that. They do have the Razor against the Omni, so they have to figure out a lane to punish this, like a pressure lane to punish the Terrorblade.
And they've taken away the Viper.
Maybe a Kotal lane would be nice against the Terrorblade. And Kotal is also quite good
10
against
seconds
illusion
remaining.
heroes like Terrorblade. I could see
5
Liquid
seconds
doing a
remaining.
Kotal dual lane against DP.
Yeah, definitely. Terrorblade is one of the heroes that you want to keep pressure early on, even though he can easily come back, but still.
Beastmaster's in the pool, so if they want to do that kind of duel, then it's available for them. And Beastmaster will provide them a BKB piercing disable against the repel. So LGD do go for the tiny. So probably, but That's probably their mid Tiny, unless they want to do a support Tiny, which I'm not sure.
Very unusual for them.
Yeah, that's going to be very unusual for them.
It's also unusual to see them reveal 3 cores in the first 3 picks.
all
though.
3 cores, yeah. By the way,
They would like that.
DK is okay, the hero. I'm not sure though. I think if I'm Liquid here, I want to wait one more pick. I want to,
Sure.
because
Look at the support
I
here.
might be thinking of the Brood here that can come out and destroy the lane. So
I don't see this as a Brood game. Against Omni Knight, he can lane well against her and Tiny as well. Plus, they have one more pick if they pick it in the second
yeah,
stage.
that's true. Brood doesn't lane well against Tiny or Omni. He does lane well against Terrorblade, but generally you want to have multiple cores that don't lane well against you. Then you pick the hero. Then
Nice.
it makes it difficult for them to adjust.
Nice safe Rubik pick here.
They might get something like a Witch Doctor as a support for Team Liquid with Repel against the Tiny, one of the better counters to him. Also the bounce if you pray hard enough before the game against the Terrorblade Illusions as well.
I guess it depends what they want to prioritize in terms of countering.
Could get like Ancient Abridged.
I don't know. I'm still leaning towards a more strong lane pressure, like the Kotal kind of dual lanes against the TB. I think if against this kind of lineup, you don't do well on the laning phase, I don't know how you approach the mid game, because the mid game will be very strong with the Omni and TB. They have to do well in the early game. They need to pressure.
I really like that. I feel like too often.
Timber's okay too. We mentioned earlier, Timber, I think. Timber is good against TB. So they have 2 strength heroes. Phantom Lancer. The hero is pretty strong in the lane. I give them that. But later, it's not like a very good call-to-call
10 seconds
matchup against Terrorblade.
Collection they're probably.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, he has Phantom Rush just to get on top of you, especially with the range extend.
Radiant team ban.
You can't man fight with the TB.
Phantom Lancer. Yeah, they could.
Maybe Kotal Razor to pressure the TB. I could see that happening. That lane is pretty strong.
10 seconds remaining.
I think it's still pretty open what they can do. It depends on the matchup.
5
Razor can
seconds
go mid.
remaining.
PL can
Yeah,
go
you can
mid.
also-
Razor can go safe lane. Razor can go off lane. All depends. But they do have to pick here. LGD has the overall last pick. Their lineup kind of lacks a bit of stuns initiation because right now they will only the snowball.
They have Tusk.
Yeah, that's the only stun. Maybe, but yeah, then it's Liquid, you know. Sometimes they're just going to play without stuns or very little stuns.
Game 1.
Yep, so they ban out the Beastmaster, worrying about the potential pressure lane, the Kotal Beastmaster lane.
Yeah, I would see Team Liquid either going for a reliable stun in MC's hero, or just go
10
for
seconds
more
remaining.
tower damage. Maybe something like a Pagana that I already mentioned that it's really good against
5
the
seconds
Terrorblade.
remaining.
You guys mentioned Dragon Knight as well, if they want
Yeah,
extra stuns, tower push, pressure. No, it's kind of open. It's too open what they can go for here. There's too many things that they can actually pick. But
Dire
what
teams
do they
don't
want to do here? That is the main question to
Yep.
be asked.
What rounds this out?
Preferably a hero with a stun, but I could see it still working without a stun. Maybe they're gonna do like a Razor Kotal dual lane, like I mentioned, to pressure the
10
TV
seconds remaining.
and just go for another core.
Okay,
And then
still
they-
here?
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, PL, Sith Lane Razor, then PL will be mid.
If it wasn't for Tiny, I would think.
Radiant team's turn to pick.
Dragon Knight.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's the balance hero, like gives them the stun, the pressure, power
Sure,
push.
lineup.
Yeah, and the hero is good.
Lane shove. nice tanky frontliner for you to.
And you still
10
have no
seconds
idea
remaining.
how are they going to lay
No,
this.
I was going to ask exactly the question I was about to ask you. Where are they going to put those? We'll find out in about 5 seconds if LGD decide to use nothing but their normal time. Make that 55 seconds.
What do they need? Maybe a Legion commander.
Elder Titan, they need a support. Elder Titan's okay. There's Earth Spirit, but I don't think they will pick Earth Spirit for FY. He hasn't played in a while. Is there Sand King? Sand King's still available?
Yep,
Yeah,
Sand
Sand
King's still
King
there, so
sounds
is
good.
Bane. Yeah, Bane's still there as well.
Or they
Ken's still in the pool.
I don't know. I kind of think like Sand King and Elder Titan are the two better ones that come off my mind right now. Because you kind of want a hero that can look for
Choose your hero.
the Keeper of the Light. Okay, Bounty can
okay.
go hunt the Keeper of the Light. But Bounty Hunter is not great against PL. Bounty Hunter is not great against Dragon Knight. And not great against Tusk.
Now, so they're going to do a DK offlane here. Like,
So his entire focus on. He has
Yeah.
no other choice on.
Yeah, but it's gonna be difficult though. Like, it might not even be a DK off, and DK can be mid, and they can move any of the heroes down bottom. So, I'm really super unsure about this Bounty Hunter pick. I feel like he's not gonna be able to accomplish much in the early game. So I'm gonna go with Liquid closing this series out 2-1.
So,
Okay.
it's gonna be basically he's got Omni Knight, kind of light 3-core lineup.
I'll go with
Happened last game.
yeah,
guys.
no, I do remember what happened last game, and I also remember what happens when these three all agree. It rarely ends well. Let's hope it isn't a curse and Liquid can move on. But they've got a big job ahead of them. LGD versus Liquid, game 3. Let's return to the...
Us can predict who's going to win, but we really don't give a crap. What we want to see is fantastic Dota. Whoever wins will deserve it, LGD or Liquid, and they'll deserve that winner's bracket final position if they can claim the victory. Kyle, how do you feel about how do you feel about the draft as we're seeing this Bounty Hunter 5th pick pushing the Tiny, Omni Knight, and Terrorblade, all 3 first picks of LGD into cores?
Two big things from last game. LGD learned. FY went off, one of the most impressive Tusk performances I've ever seen, but they learned that they're going to chrono the Lifestealer now and kill him every fight. And I think going into this game, they haven't necessarily figured Liquid out, but I like their draft. I think every player is on a comfort hero, and I think Liquid has like the harder game to win because they need to play around specific timings and be the team that initiates, whereas LGD, you have Bounty Hunter Omni Knight with Ame Terrorblade. The game plays itself if you can just get that one fight with a couple tracks.
This is starting already. Like the panel was mentioning that Dex Nova would just be hunting GH and being a real pain in the butt. He got dusted up, he stole the bounty rune, and he's just wasting the time of the Keeper of the Light. They need to do this. Like GH, we saw him time and time again at the Internationals perform perfectly around this trifecta of a camp. Mass stacks allowing for the farm to come in later, and he can either share this or take it all himself, turning into an Aghanim himself, turning into a split push game. It's just exactly what LGD want. That's why I want to watch this Bounty Hunter very closely. Courier snipes and the nuisance he is to the Keeper of the Light.
And I think that maybe is just, we've seen a lot, Tiny DK mid a couple times. I think maybe is a far better player than others I've seen in this matchup, and he should do at least 60-40, maybe even 70-30 against this DK. As the panel said, though, it's all about what does this Bounty Hunter do in the game, and I think following Coddle is going to be the move, but will they be able to kill him?
Yep. Kill him or even just annoy him more than anything else. But Keeper of the Light moved up towards the top lane now. So they've turned this into a defensive Trine lane against a roaming bounty on that top lane. So the observable is already down for LGD. So they see behind the tier 1 tower, mainly at the pull camp is the main thing they're watching. So they understand when they have the capability of diving, when Team Liquid are looking for that little bit of extra farm of their own.
It's so hard for Liquid in this game. They're in that similar position where they need these core items to really make moves happen, but they don't have like the same survivability as Viper Tide with the Razor DK, especially when you're up against the mass amounts of catch and control from LGD. And I think LGD has an advantage in every lane looking at it. Omni versus PL's Omni favored. I think they have the mid matchup too. And up top, Razor doesn't want to play in a trade lane against TB. He wants to be chasing this guy down and maybe threatening kills.
Yep. He wants to be that aggressor. Matumba already trying to get it up in his face, but it's not really going to work unless Kuro can shard block him in. I don't know if this really happens until Kuro hits level 2, when he's able to have that snowball available. Right now, it's just shards, but they need the controlling factor from the very beginning. They need the snowball.
We saw LGD utilize their hard camp a lot when they were playing this Coddle, but Xnova's done a great job. He stood in the easy camp twice, and he's just waiting around this hard camp to ensure that Liquid can't get the pulls off. And that's what allows them to now free farm a Terror Blade, super high base damage and a Quelling Blade. He won't miss any last hits under tower, and there's a Razor in his lane, so you're totally fine trading.
As long as the other lanes remain okay, like balance-wise as far as CS, like, yeah, you're still going to be okay with this too.
And then you got to rotate. There they go. They're going to put the Razor against Omni, but it's a far more favorable matchup for Omni in his own safe lane. Near impossible were he in the off lane.
But they needed to do something. Like, Miracle gets purified, he gets pushed back out. They tried to find the kill into Xnova. They scanned and it didn't come up positive.
He once again stands in the camp too.
Yeah. So, no camp for you. Team Liquid. He's got a little bit more spam up on this top lane now. Like, Miracle can start spamming out the lance a little bit more. Here comes your sharp block. Chalice, nowhere to really run to. He's got Purification in 2 seconds time. They'll have not enough damage to get the kill. So Purification spills a little bit more back, but it will not stop Miracle from claiming the first blood on that top lane. And this is when LGD were doing their own rotations. They brought the bounty towards the mid, but they brought Disruptor and the Terror Blade to the bottom. A glimpse back. Matumba's got nowhere to go. The Illumina spam is nice. FY one more attack from GH. He'll reach him. Kuro had the TP down as well, so we've got a heavy lane rotation from Team Liquid. They shard block. That Illumina needed to connect. They have any chance of killing off Armor here, which they don't. So back up to the tier 1 tower for Liquid.
It was a big kill on the Omni Knight though, because they did catch him after TPing. It's always painful as an offlaner when that happens, and now he'll fall significantly behind the PL because Miracle's been able to deny 2, almost 3 full waves before he returns.
Nothing like a nice double rune for a bounty hunter. Arcane, double damage, then picks up a bounty rune. This guy is drinking every beverage on the shelf.
And the only issue again is this bounty hunter. But I think whenever you have a bounty and the lanes are just going okay, especially when you have a Terror Blade Omni Knight, I cannot stress enough just how powerful LGD's team fight is going to be in the late game.
They're going to fight bottom. Fury put on the reflection. Matumba takes so much damage with that DD Bounty Hunter. He was not ready for this. The defensive snowball protects them at least for half a second, but half a second is not long enough. Kuro making his run back. The Illuminate spam. Xnova, he's going to be low. GH can look for again the revenge, but into the invis. And Ghost walks so quick and away.
Yep, the real story. Matumba Man 8-2 CS. We've seen this on Vipers before in a couple of EG games and earlier in the tournament. Viper Rays are very similar. When you fall behind, your hero does not accomplish the same as when you're not a hero anymore. You don't do your job, which is to dominate the laning phase and translate that advantage into mid-game. When you're behind, you can't recover. You don't have wave clear like that.
Team Liquid need to steady this ship. At the moment, LGD, they're very happy to accept the status quo. And they will keep it this way as long as they can. As long as they can find some levels. And actually, do LGD change the tempo at all? Like, do they try and preempt against Team Liquid? Like, is it worthwhile getting aggressive, having that tiny rotate? You are a mid-tiny. Oh, man, Miracle. Careful with the Purification. They're going to steal a lot of damage, however, from Chalice. And with the snowball control, he has nowhere to go bar down. Yeah, so when you run that mid, like if we pay attention to the book of Sing Sing, goodbye GH, you're going to get glimpsed and then killed. Yeah, you're not juking this.
Where is he?
GH ran down west and still dead. Like they had the range attack. But yeah, do you want to see that combination, like the avalanche toss maxed out, early blink dagger onto the tiny, and then gank? But who does he gank?
It's really just about controlling the tempo and pressuring the objectives. You can only ever really kill the Coddle, but it's all about the tossbacks. Whenever you're playing with a Disruptor and a TB, any tossback or even just set up into a glimpse when you it's the circle, you know, like we see enough WWE wrestling matches. Terrorblade is Andre the Giant. Anybody that enters the ring with him, he's gonna take down.
Surprised you thought so highly of Andre. Dallas is on the run through the tree lines. Matumba still dealing a heavy amount of damage. The blast of field clips him on the edge. Miracle also combining with the lance to get that kill. And they can pump that damage into the tier 1 tower now once fortification wears off.
It's so good from Liquid because they realize, you know, Razor, he can't do anything. So let's just ditch GH bottom. He'll run around in circles really fast, pressure this lane. Matumba Man becomes a support, but it's a hell of a lot more useful than him just being bottom.
Does he actually get out of this? Like,
Yeah.
he's just sitting there, looks calm as a cucumber. Just walks away. It's like, yeah, I'm making space for you guys to probably die. Oh, wait, I don't have to die? Isn't this a nice thing? Oh, wait, no, that's right. I have to die. It's not even all damage. Just Bounty Hunter doing a lot of work.
Yep. I mean, it's a bad situation for Liquid, but they have salvaged it a little bit. It's just a question of how do they actually get Matumba Man into the game. You probably want to leave him here up against Omni Knight for a bit. It's just so difficult for him because he's under-leveled.
Keeping the net worth close.
Yeah, and they are. They're going to put PL bottom with the Coddle. They know there's no meta, so they should be strong enough to contest this lane now. Mid lane, though, they might look to set up on DK here. Here's the toss back.
There's the wraparound, and Somnus, he gets the wrong creep. But still, X-Nova's going to be in the neighborhood, into Dragonfall, looking for that extra help. Kuro is on the way. He has defensive snowball available, but they just do it to be aggressive. Kill off the Bounty Hunter, and create that space. It's a 3-man commitment from LGD, all stalled up by the 2 men of Liquid.
I would have liked to see him stun first to guarantee the toss back. I'm pretty sure that's a kill if he lands the toss. I mean, I also don't like that they continue to go for it after they don't execute. It's just those common things where your supports are here, you want to make the play, but once you don't execute, it's hard to stop.
Miracle is just creep skipping out this bottom lane. He may have a little bit of trouble as Chalice has now come in. Good doppelganger available for Miracle, so he's not that concerned about the glimpse from FY, not when he's got that many of himself ready to fight. And Chalice, well, yeah, having too many issues dealing with the illusions. Kuro, low on life in the mid, mind control, gonna get a glimpse back in. And Kuro, does he try and help him? That's a double damage Dragon. Somnus has to Fairy Fire. He knows the corrosive tick will actually hurt him. The shards are a little bit too far off. Miracle, remember that doppelganger is still available. X-Nova has to jump in, Viz. Got double sentries on this lane, so he knows he's safe.
It's all okay for LGD. They've done a very good job of continuing to rotate. Don't leave Omni Knight alone against the Razor and continue shoving, putting Terrorblade in his lane. They want Ame to have a good game, and they play for the mid to late game transition. They will have track. They have a lot of big spells, and while usually you can play around the GA and the meta, they're fine just getting 2 or 3 kills off that as the game gets into the mid game because they'll have the track gold.
A lot of rotations coming to the bottom lane. Mind Control and Kuro both been scouted out by X-Nova. Walks right over the top of him, but this is the warning sign. Chalice just wants to get the hell out of here. The courier being fortified, flying over the tree line. Somnus looking for an engagement on Matumba, can wrap around the back. Needs the toss back to happen, so there's your avalanche. There's your toss back in. Starts a static link and then just starts TPing out. Even better for Matumba. Realizing that is not a fight he wants to take, and they're getting a trade-off anyway. The tier 1 tower on bot.
Really well played by Matumba Man. It's hard. There's always this, are they going to defend or do they mirror and try to kill me? You're never really sure, and you don't want to leave a lane too early, but he ends up going and ditching at just the right moment, forces the meta as well, so really key. Now top lane, they might pressure this TP a bit.
Going for GH in mid, they glimpse him down and pull him back, and Somnus is just a walk in, beat him down with his stick. And GH just trying to find a little bit of space for farm. It's actually one of the very few times we haven't been watching GH doing like multiple stacks with his Keeper of the Light. Obviously that's dangerous when you got a Bounty Hunter on the field, but it slows down the progression that is normally very fast for GH's Coddle.
I really like Maybe's build. Always should be maxing toss on Tiny, in my opinion. Gets the extra point in tree grab just to help him in lane, and then he'll start maxing stun.
Ting would approve.
Yeah. It also allows you to max your QW and have 2 points in your ultimate by level 12.
Kuro getting Thunder Strike up. Somnus is on the way, and Kuro's surrounded by 4 heroes. He needs to snowball defensively. He actually goes up to the wave, which is nearby, but a glimpse. That's a long one back, but it's still locked inside of a wall. Kuro can't shard push himself out.
They give the kill to the Tiny. He's now 100 gold from his blink, and that's where he can really start to make plays. He will be one-shotting this Coddle for quite some time.
This is when the distance game needs to be played by Team Liquid. The only way that's going to happen is if their vision, their established vision, is going to be really, really good. And as the two observer watch down from LGD, watching both near that mid-tier 1 tower, they see any kind of movement through the mid, and then one up closer towards that bounty rune on the Dire's jungle. It's just really good information across the board for LGD. If Liquid move, they'll hear about it early.
Big thing to note, there are drums on the Dragon Knight, but a blink on the Tiny. So the initiation factor for LGD is going to be far stronger for quite some time, and they have to stall the game. But we've seen a lot of times where this GH Coddle into the late game, plus a Miracle PL, it can do some serious work.
Initiation out on Ame. He's got the Thunder. They have to keep it stunned. The wings were expanding. He was putting the mouth to the lips just to suck out the life, but it doesn't happen. Not enough time.
It's a false sense of security because that ward behind the tower is just placed.
Cracked. One shot just can't get out of the wall. Even if he did, got the bounty hunter waiting to grab him. A 1-for-1 trade-off, but the tier 1 tower is also the advantage for Liquid.
Ame drawing a circle around that area. He thinks they might have vision, but in reality, they just TP'd into the tower, avoiding the ward behind, in between tier 1 and tier 2 top, and the one in the jungle below that near the shrine. So they just end up killing him for free, but they do get the trade on Miracle. Meta popped mid. This is the big fight for this mid game. I don't know if Liquid can take this. DK4 fading.
My control's already being watched by X-Nova. You see Somnus moving up. They're going to glint him down. The wall, the storm is perfect. Even the reflection. They just wanted to delete the DK, and that means there's no more fight to be had. Kuro is on the run. He's got his Arcane Rune to perfection, snowballing down into the wave. He's still got shards available. He want to block up the tree line. If he can hit it right, and he can hit it perfectly. Kuro just needs a safe place to TP up for the Tiny can do this. Avalanche swing. He's lost his tree, but the Shuriken toss is there to finish the job. But they still haven't taken that mid tower. But I suppose DK doesn't have Dragon Form anymore.
If only the Tomon Courier for the bounty had been used a minute ago, that would have been 2 track kills, maybe even 3.
On mid lane, Chalice, gonna just combo perfectly. For a moment, I actually thought it was Liquid who would have the advantage fighting with 3 heroes under the tower, but have to keep in mind that burst combination that the Tiny can do himself, let alone with the combination of Purification.
And the last pick bounty is just so key here. The counter to Coddle, as far as supports go, is always the Invis heroes.
Lost him.
Dire's middle tower is under
Maybe Elser is just playing incredibly well. I liked his item decision, his skill build, and he's really allowing his team to play with his tempo while buying space and time for Ame to get ahead of the game and, you know, move into the late game, but he's in trouble.
Yeah, Terrorblade, Dragon Tail stun up with a Breathe Fire. Remember, you've still got that Sunder available, so we can just turn and fight this. X-Nova wants the fight to happen. That's more track kills.
Yep. They're just in such a good position in the game now, LGD. They just need a couple of fights, some track kills, and it's going to be Roche. Every game nowadays seems to come down to Roche.
Kind of funny, though, with all of this going on, the net worth is still not even over 1,000 gold in favor of LGD. They're up by 5 kills, but this PL is still getting so much. So another kill going to come in on Matumberman. He's tanking through as much of it as he possibly can, just walking the circle of the storm.
Going to be about the timings. LGD will hit theirs first once they're strong enough with the TB. But once Coddle, Ags, plus that next item, a 4 or 5 slotted PL, they start wreaking so much havoc in LGD's lines, and then the long duration team fights for Liquid, no one ends up dying. But LGD is going to hit that timing first. Liquid needs to stall until much later into the game, where their point blank initiation advantage and the Razor just running at the Tiny, running at the Omni, kind of carry them through a fight, because Miracle will be just, again, causing chaos everywhere.
They need so much space there to create.
Yeah.
You're talking about so many items on so many big heroes. Like even the 4 position, you're talking about affording a full Aghanim Scepter. GH needs space to do this. And LGD know that too. That's why they've got this almost like this perfect diagonal line that just goes down from the mid-town, like between the tier 1, tier 2 tower, like straight down anywhere inside of the big Team Liquid jungle is just LGD controlled or LGD informed.
Yeah, we brought up ward duos yesterday. This is a ward trio. Liquid actually cannot cross into the top side of their jungle without LGD knowing about it. And it makes it so easy for them to continue to just shove lanes and pressure Liquid.
Couple gang up. The Avalanche was a little bit further away. They're going to glimpse Miracle back down, but then Lances all fly forward. FY protected by the wall.
So smart. They don't have the Disruptor ultimate. or rather, they don't have the damage to secure that kill before support's going to come in, and
They just bait the fight so they can rotate towards the top lane with a Tiny. There's no dire vision here. It's very defensive. It's back near the rune, and thanks to the back off on Thomas just takes the farm.
Nova still just tracking GH's Coddle. Terrorblade continuing to farm. Actually, Ame popping a meta to farm. Unless, he didn't use that down bottom, right?
I think he was ready to, but no, I know it's not. Mind control, in trouble, the storm, right, perfect control, and the TP, it will not work. Glimpse was being held for that exact reason. So mind control and Kuro will fall in the mid, and with the rest of that Metamorphosis, they can push into the tier 1 tower, which has been pestering them for so long. Liquid have already claimed 2 tier 1 towers. It's about time LGD did one of their own.
It's just, they're too strong right now. This is their timing, and the Disruptor, we saw it last game, where he just lands so many bonus kills. Sorry, that was the first game. And it allows you to punish Liquid's style of split pushing and trying to play everywhere, because you can't anymore. And it's also a great hero to counter the Tusk, which is part of the reason they take it forth. I'm actually surprised they got that far, because you remove the ability to snowball save.
Oh, Matamaman's in trouble once more. Steals a little bit of damage, gets glimpsed back towards the tower. There were 3 heroes that were looking to fight him, and Team Liquid, once again, the second LGD come anywhere near their tier 1 side lane towers, they just run at you. Avalanche toss. Kuro, snowball, it can stun 3, but it won't matter when you've only got 5% of your life. Miracle, Dragon lances forward. Has he got enough damage to kill off FY? No, he doesn't. Oh, he's doppelganging it out. No glimpse back for him. He just waited it perfectly. Comes into the fight. The Dragon tells them they just have to hold Charles in position, allowing Miracle. And one more lands. The Avalanche will deny that. They toss him further down. Back. It's all about saving Private Omni. Miracle, he's going to go inside the base with a Phantom Rush. You'll take it. And they're still charging through. There's tier 2 towers up, and they're almost hitting the tier 4s. A 3-man wall and storm. Liquid, how deep are you? Too deep, too deep, too deep. Run away. They've already lost the Razor. Now Miracle into the tier 2 tower. No doppelganger of Avalanche. No Shuriken toss with the track. Miracle is so low. He's on a beast stick of life. Nova needs one more attack. Miracle will doppelganger. At least get rid of the track, so he can get away to safety, get back towards the shrine, which he will pop instantly. I am really surprised Liquid only lost the Razor for that dive.
I mean, Ame was bottom the entire time. The entire time he kills the tier 1 and has just been accelerating hard. His team buying him so much space, and that would have been way worse for Liquid, but X-Nova was actually in the top lane hunting the courier. Liquid with the presence of mind to actually keep it AFK above their tier 1 for nearly a full 2 minutes. Otherwise, he's there to land some tracks as they dive past the tier 2 all the way to tier 3, but you can't blame them. They feel pressure to get these kills because they know the TB is breathing down their necks.
Yeah, it's almost like they just had this directive from Captain Kuro. You just dive. The second we see something we can kill, we just keep going for it. Then they do. They've showcased they've had the strength with both Razor and DK to go heavily underneath towers. They've got the survivability they require, and the only thing they're lacking is that heavy damage, which you just need to have the static link from. X-Nova, potentially. Yeah, he breaks the smoke, but does stuff, shot it up. Nova, no way to survive through this. So a kill is a kill. This one will go the way of Miracle.
You can see the downside of Liquid's item build this game. They skipped Blink on Dragon Knight. They went SNY on PL before Defusal, and so their chase power is not nearly what it should be, and that's why they're forced to chase all the way into the base before they can actually catch that Omni Knight.
But it does seem like a good compromise if they can just stand strong.
Exactly.
Because then you can have the SNY.
I'm farming to carry this game as a style. SNY into Butterfly. They're going to get Aegis at some point. He buys his own BKB or MK
And they're looking to take that bottom racks. Team Liquid, can they mount a defense?
I don't think so, Toby.
The tracks are continuing. If they don't get a good finish the job, combining with FY's Thunderstrike, and they want more. Arme jumping in, they've slowed down Mind Control with the reflect. They're looking to toss him back away, but Batoman, now he gets in the front line. They're keeping him up, or at least keeping him down with the damage removal.
That is a blessing in disguise because they get the meta popped a little early, so they might not have it for the full duration of a team fight, but LGD is still strong enough to certainly pressure this tier 2 and easily the tier 3, but will they go all the way for the racks? They don't have to, but I think they can, Toby.
They can try it. You got the diffuser blade on the PL, so at least they can burn off the back line, Team Liquid. So LGD sustain in this push isn't so great, but as we've seen throughout most of these team fights, sustain hasn't been a problem, right? LGD just jump in, they get the initial burst damage, and then it's just one target after one target after one target that Liquid are unwillingly presenting them. It's the punishment of Glimpse. It's the punishment of the aggression of a Tiny.
I think they looked, Ame like ran all the way to top. I think they're gonna back off here. You kill tier 2 top, you kill Shrine, you wait for next meta, and then you go look to end the game.
You got some advantage now for Team Liquid. Aghanim Scepter has been completed on the Keeper of the Light. And target, smoke is breaking. Who brought detection? Anyone bring detection? Oh! They dropped the Sentry, but it's on top of the Shrine, and already Xnova is left. And leaves a parting gift. It's a track on Miracle. It's a doppelganger it off. A blink dagger for a Terrorblade. Hello.
This Bounty Hunter last pick, they go all 3 cores in their first 3, but saving the support seems to work out so well for LGD because this bounty is the X factor. Part of the reason their mid-game advantage is so high is because if he's not there getting tracks, he's tracking a hero through the enemy woods and just providing information.
The damage that's going to start to arrive is ridiculous. Like, it's not just the Terrorblade is now going to be the frontliner. You've now got yourself a Daedalus, a full Daedalus on the Tiny with his SMY and Blink Dagger. This crit level is so high.
Oh, and there's a blink on the Terrorblade. He's going to get repelled, and they're just going to go off. And if you look at the heroes of Liquid, who's actually going to survive this? Like, all you need to do as LGD is wait for nighttime and go end the game. And that Aegis is going to time out perfectly. They'll have a full minute and 30 seconds with Aegis and nighttime.
The only way Liquid really survive this is in the lower bracket best of 1. That's kind of what they're forced into. That's where the loser of this game goes to play up against TNC. Miracle is now target. Uno, jump in. There's your hit. Miracle locked to the wall. He can doppelganger. A little bit more space. He tried to bait it out with the illusion. And, well, they can clean it up so quickly that the baiting of the illusion doesn't even work. Team Liquid want to get some kind of revenge. Arme in the mid was the target, but now it's Kuro who's in trouble. He's snowballed in. The tracks are doing their work. The Spirit Vessels are crippling. And Liquid back under their tier 3 tower with 2 heroes dead. You know where LGD want to go. They're going mid.
Oh, yeah.
And they have Metamorphosis already burnt. They're coming. And a blink straight in. Reflection. Somnus with his jump. The glimpse back. It never even completed. But Tubberman evaporated underneath his own tier 4 tower. This is the game. There's no way Liquid can repel firepower power of this magnitude of LGD. They're going to just rip apart this mid-racks. And Liquid, what do you even do to stop it? You can live on a hope of prayer, but Keeper of the Light, another great initiation in from Somnus. GH tracked up. He has to go all the way back home for the Shuriken toss. It bounces after him and kills him all the way back past the fountain. There it is. GG, well played. LGD will take the winner's bracket. Final position. They will play against the winner of Benessi and VG Gaming, and Liquid now have the hard road. The best of one against TNC.
And they also secure, at the very minimum, third place at this major. 725 qualifying points, if I'm not mistaken. My math might be off, but 675. And that's enough, I think, to put them into contention for a TI invite.
Yeah.
It's close.
It's close for LGD. LGD have a long run. There are 471 points total. They have to topple Na'Vi, who are 1 point shy of 1,200. If you claim second position here, you're able to do such a thing, and they're in a very good position to do that
And
now.
the way they're playing, they look like